Okay. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. It is Monday, June 29th, and this is our South Carolina Citizens for Life, Proudly Pro-Life Webcast. My name is Sally Zaleski, and I'm the Executive Office Manager for South Carolina Citizens for Life. On today's live interview, we have Alexia Newman, and she is the Director of Carolina Pregnancy Center in Spartanburg, South Carolina. And she is going to talk to us today about the various ministries that Carolina Pregnancy Center offers, as well as whatever other ministries she'd like to share with us across the Pregnancy Care Center network. And also Holly Gatling, our Executive Director, has some important news for us today that she's going to provide to us as a quick headline. So over to you, Holly. Oh, one other thing, folks. If you have questions for Alexia today, please email your questions to info@sclife.org. That's info@sclife.org. And if we have time, we'll get your questions during today's interview. Otherwise, we'll try to get those answers posted below the Facebook video today. All right, Holly.
Good afternoon and welcome to the South Carolina Citizens for Life, Proudly Pro-Life Webcast. First, the news. As most of you may know by now, this morning the U.S. Supreme Court issued a 5-4 ruling striking down the Louisiana law requiring abortionists to have admitting privileges to a nearby hospital. National Right to Life President Carol Tobias said, and this is a quote, "We are extremely disappointed in the decision that, quote, leaves women vulnerable." And the National Right to Life General Counsel, Jim Bopp Jr., said that the decision, quote, "demonstrates how important it is that President Trump get reelected so that he may be able to appoint more pro-life judges." So how does this opinion affect South Carolina? Well, in my never to be humble opinion, the admitting privileges requirement in the South Carolina abortion clinic regulations is not affected. Our state regulations require abortion facilities to have, quote, "a signed written agreement with at least one physician who has admitting privileges in one or more local hospitals with OBGYN services to ensure his or her availability to the staff and patients during all operating hours." I'm quoting from pages 8 and 9 of our regulations that survived the abortion industry's legal challenge. So let me briefly give you the history of the abortion clinic regulations in South Carolina. In 1991, 2 employees of abortionist Jesse Floyd reported to the South Carolina Department of Health and Environmental Control that Floyd was grinding up the bodies of aborted babies in his sink disposal. The DHEC staff said there was nothing DHEC could do because there were no regulations in place that prohibited abortionists from washing human remains into the public water system. So with the help of the pro-life community in Charleston, Floyd's 2 former employees went to a Charleston television investigative reporter named Dan Ashley, who did a 3-part series exposing Floyd's filthy abortion practices. And as a result of Dan Ashley's investigative series, the South Carolina General Assembly, with strong backing from South Carolina Citizens for Life, passed the Abortion Clinic Regulation Act that authorized DHEC to write the regulations. The abortion industry challenged the regulations, and we're talking minimum standards of medical care and sanitation, minimum standards, and they took us to court, federal court. The U.S. Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals upheld our regulations, and subsequently the U.S. Supreme Court refused to hear any further appeal. The regulations went into effect in 2004. Now, that's as brief as I can make it, but I encourage you to go to the SCCL website. Am I back on?
Yes.
I touched nothing. Okay. So I'm encouraging everyone to go to the SCCL website, sclife.org, and watch Dan Ashley's excellent investigative reporting. And you will find it under About Us, and you scroll down to the video, Jesse Floyd. And as a postscript to this report, Jesse Floyd later died in an automobile accident that was his fault. The cause of death was massive body trauma. And all I can say is, may God have mercy on his soul. But despite this disappointing Supreme Court ruling today, we will continue forward doing what we've always done. And so I would like to now introduce the amazing Alexia Newman, who has been the executive director of Carolina Pregnancy Center in Spartanburg for more than 30 years. She is the go-to pro-life woman sought out by politicians who want their pro-life credentials validated by holding press conferences at Carolina Pregnancy Center. Alexia and her staff have been instrumental in helping South Carolina Citizens for Life launch and grow the Proudly Pro-Life Dinner in January. Alexia, welcome. You once had a cooking show, and you are an amazing cook. So tell us about your journey into the pregnancy care ministry.
You know, it goes back, Holly, to when I was a student at what is now Columbia International University. When I was a student there, we marched in the pro-life march every year. And, you know, we just kind of did it because that's what a lot of my friends were doing. And just fast forward about 8 years, and I was working in a church in Abbeville, South Carolina, and got a call about this job being open at Carolina Pregnancy Center. I was the director of youth and family ministries. Didn't even know what a crisis pregnancy center was. I knew that I was pro-life. But before I could even interview for the job, I had to ask them, now you are a pro-life ministry. And they told me that they were. They told me that the qualifications for that job were strong administrator. You had to be a fundraiser. You had to be a public speaker, of which I was none of the above. I was a kid person. I was a teenage. I loved teenagers. I loved teaching the Bible. I loved discipleship. And that wasn't what they were looking for. But yet, after 5 interviews, they offered me the job. And all I knew was that I wanted that more than I'd ever wanted anything. I wanted to be a part of helping women that were in a crisis situation. And so I was thrilled when they offered me the job, and took it thinking the first day, what have I done? What in the world have I done? Because I had none of the qualifications, but I think the Lord needed that, because he knew if I didn't have any qualifications, he would have to qualify me. He would have to show me exactly what to do. So it has been a day by day, hour by hour journey with him into the Crisis Pregnancy Center ministry.
So, Alexia, just describe for us, and this is a silly way to put it, the typical day, because I know there's no typical day, but how do women get help? How do they find out how to get to the center?
Well, we do. We've hired Madison Rainey. We hired her a couple of years ago to be our media and our person that gets us on social media. But before that, we spent thousands and thousands of dollars on billboard signage, which more than doubled our clientele. And I can tell you, we track how our clients get here. And most of our clients find out about us through other clients telling them. I mean, we're on the internet. We did Yellow Page ads, and now we're digital with that. But still, spending all that money, the best way that clients find out about us are their friends telling. Now we We have relationships with the health department and with different doctors' offices that tell their patients about us. And so that's kind of how we do it.
And so once a woman comes in and with what we used to call a crisis pregnancy, but then, a problem in unintended pregnancy, walk us through that step of how that woman is served by your staff.
Well, with COVID, it's very different. It's different now, but and yet it's still the same. They call, make an appointment. We greet them, then we bring them in, get a little information, kind of try to get to know her to find out what brought her here. And just because she's married does not always mean that, and we see married and single clients, but just because a married client comes in does not mean that she's necessarily wants to carry that baby. It could be all kinds of different things going on. But 64% of our clients test negative. But they come in, we get a little information, get to know them, run their test while their test is running, because we do self-testing, although we do have a nurse on staff. They do self-testing. We may, as things change, we may change that. But right now we're still doing self-testing. And then we go back, we give them the results, and they read their test, because even though we've already read it, we give it to them. And that way we become the comforter and not the bearer of bad news. So that's how we do it. And then we discuss their options. We tell them about the different resources that are available if they are pregnant. If they're not, we talk to them about a lifestyle change. We're absolutely a redemptive ministry, so we tell them about Jesus. When they give us permission, we always say, "Can we tell you about Jesus? Can we tell you about the Lord?" And I tell you, with the COVID, it's been amazing how that's kind of revved our volunteers up, and how girls that come in, they're really looking for something. They're scared. The future to them is unknown. So we can provide them hope. Also, we can talk to, if they want to carry, we can talk to them about our mentoring program called Earn While You Learn, where they'll be assigned to a mentor. They can earn mommy money, shop in our store. If they have an abortion in their past, we can talk to them about our post-abortion Bible study. All of them have either a boyfriend, a husband, or a significant other. It's complicated relationship. And we have a men's program called Dad to Dad. For the men, we do free ultrasounds. We have a miscarriage for women that have had miscarriages and are struggling with that. So we can offer them, as we've gotten to know them, to see if they have a miscarriage in their past, if they have an abortion in their past, just further healing from whatever's going on or has gone on in their life.
Well, on almost every one of these shows, I complain bitterly about the accusations against the pro-life movement that we're just pro-birth and that we don't care about women and children after they're born. And so I'm always happy to have our guests address that. Absolute, it's a dastardly lie. And we want to correct that. So take it away, Alexia.
Well, I mean, even now, we normally do a big Bible school with our Earn While You Learn clients. We'll have anywhere from 25 to 30 women do that. We partner with First Baptist North Spartanburg, where they can bring their children to do Bible school there with their children. And then we've got the moms from 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock. And we do crafts, we sing, we eat, we have a Bible study. Sometimes we do that by video, sometimes it's live. But this year, there's most of the churches are not doing Bible school. And if they are, people aren't able to come in, extra people to come in and do that. So with our intern program, they're doing a Bible school. We're doing a story every week and a craft, and the girls drive through the parking lot on Thursday and pick up their bag with their craft, with their story, and then they take pictures of their kids doing the activity and take pictures, and then we pay them mommy money. And so we started that last week, and it's been the sweetest thing to see the pictures that they're sending in of their kids doing their crafts and listening to their Bible story. So yeah, we love kids. Even now, we're doing a drive-through this afternoon while this is going on. We're giving away free diapers, free wipes, and free formula to anybody that comes through, anybody that comes, and they'll get suckers in their bag if they've got children there, or a Rice Krispie treat. We're actually giving them this week, I don't know if you remember the card that Hope Aquilano did for us for your banquet several years ago. We had some of those left with that beautiful verse. So they're all getting that in their bag today. Just any way that we can encourage them. We've got music going. It's just Monday afternoons are just so fun to help, because again, people are struggling, and so we help anybody. They don't have to be a client of ours, and we have since April have given away over 1,000 bags of diapers. So yes, we love people.
Wow, that's amazing. Now I want to jump tracks just a little bit and talk about our political component of the pro-life movement. You are an activist in the Republican Party, because the Republican Party has a pro-life plank, and the Democrats do not. The Democrats are for abortion through all 9 months of pregnancy and after, and at government funded, which is that's horrendous. That they're killing their future, and I don't mean that facetiously. They are killing their future. But I've been to. I'm not sure quite how many, but I've been to a number of press conferences at CPC that featured prominent politicians, including presidential candidates. So talk to us a little bit about why is it important for politicians to get their stamp of pro-life approval?
It's interesting. We've never invited one senator, one congressman, or one presidential candidate. Never. They always call us and say, can we come? We're always fortunate that we'll have a big crowd when they do come. But it's important because they need to know that the public is by and large pro-life, and they're looking for a candidate that is pro-life. And for example, Carly Fiorina came here when she was running for president, and we did a live ultrasound for her when she was here. And of course, at that time when she came, I mean, everybody, because South Carolina was right after Iowa, she was a hot commodity because she had done well in Iowa. But she doesn't have children of her own, so she had never seen an ultrasound. So we did a live ultrasound for her, not only for her, but all the press that was with her. It took us doing that ultrasound twice so that all the press people with her could see it. And the next day she was back in Iowa because they were kind of going between Iowa and South Carolina, and that the press was giving her a terrible time. And she said, well, I was just in South Carolina yesterday, and if you had seen what I saw, there's no way you would be pro-choice. And it gave us a great opportunity with just the press that was here, because many of them had never seen an ultrasound, and they were very moved by what they saw. I know when John McCain was here one time, I didn't put him in my count that we talked about yesterday, but he was moved by what he saw. And there were 3,000 teenagers at that particular event that he did, that I guess we did together, that heard a pro-life message and saw the ultrasound, saw and heard that beating heart. So it's important to get that message out. The Speaker of the South Carolina House, Jay Lucas, came here one day. He had never seen an ultrasound, and we were able to do one for him, and you could just tell it moved him to tears. So it's important that they come. I don't know why they come here, but they do, and we welcome them, and we're thrilled that they come, and we can speak truth. And that's what they need to hear. They need to hear that that baby has a heartbeat 21 days after conception, that it has brain waves 40 days after conception. They need to hear that truth. And so we welcome them. We love it. And we always have food.
Yeah, absolutely. The people at National Right to Life say that one of the absolute most powerful images that the media can show is this ultrasound. And even if the news is negative about what's going on, and the commentator is just, roiling with hatred for the pro-life movement, there's that ultrasound in the background, and people tend to focus on that rather than on what's being said, positive or negative. Mm-hmm. I remember when we had Rick Santorum several years ago, and he said something profound that has stuck with me ever since. The reason that the young people are pro-life, predominantly pro-life, is that the first image that they have of themselves is not their birth picture, but their ultrasound picture that's still on the refrigerator. Mm-hmm. And they know they were never a blob of tissue. They're very scientifically motivated to understand the continuum of life. So,
even at the rally every year, the biggest group there are the young people that are there for the weekend. And it really gives me hope for the next generation. I have 5 interns this summer that are anywhere from high school seniors to college students that, they leave here fired up at the end of the summer.
Yeah, and there are a lot of great programs around. National Right to Life had to cancel their academy this year because of the pandemic issues, but we certainly hope to get to have one or more students. That's one of the things that we raise money for, to have one or more of the students attend the academy. Whoops, I'm sorry, I muted myself. I'll get good at this one. So, Alexa, how are you doing what you've always done, but in a new way in this pandemic situation?
Well, we take everybody's temperature before they come. We don't take any walk-ins. They've got to make an appointment, and we're booked up into July, which I know starts this week, but we're booked even through next week. But we meet them at the door. We have to do social distancing. We've had to leave our counseling rooms. They're just not big enough, and we've had to create new counseling rooms we do in the foyer. With Earn While You Learn, we've had to figure out other ways to see those clients. We were seeing them outside under a little tent. but it's so hot we can't do that. So we've really had to reconfigure our whole office. Every client that comes in is given a mask. Our volunteers wear masks. As we do our giveaways, we not only have on masks, but we have on gloves. After every client, everything is sanitized, washed down, even the pens and anything that's touched is sanitized with cleaner. And bathrooms are cleaned after every use. So we don't see that's why we can't see as many clients, because we've got to have time to wash everything down. And so we're using different furniture than we were. We're not using any cloth furniture at all. Everything is things that can be wiped down.
Well, that's amazing. And the pro-life movement is just progressing on through this pandemic. We are not going to let this defeat us. We're going to continue to work to pass laws that protect unborn children and pregnant women. We'll never give up on that. And we will not let a disappointing Supreme Court decision stop us in any way, discourage us in any way. And I just reiterate what Jim Bopp said from the National Right to Life Legal Counsel. It is imperative that President Trump be reelected. It's imperative for pro-life people to go to the poll and vote basically for pro-life Republicans. And that's the way that we're going to come out. We're going to come through this as a stronger pro-life movement than we've ever had. Yes. And if President Trump is reelected, he will have the opportunity to appoint more pro-life justices, as Jim Bopp says. Mm-hmm. So, Sally, can you close us out with information about how people can see this later?
Sure. We did have one question come in, Alexa, asking if Carolina Pregnancy Center has a mobile ultrasound unit.
We're getting one. Bob Jones University students and faculty and alumni have raised enough money, and we will have one probably the first of next year. So we will have a mobile unit complete with an ultrasound. We're so grateful to Bob Jones University for that tremendous gift. Not anything we were looking for, but something that the Lord obviously wanted us to have. So we're excited about that.
Great. That's wonderful news, especially as we start looking at the different units that are available in the Low Country, into the Midlands now, and now in the upstate. That's great. So thank you, Alexa. Thank you, Holly, for this interview today with Alexa. And for any of you that, while listening to this interview, felt that you need to give Alexa a call because you're interested in a volunteer opportunity with Carolina Pregnancy Center, or if you are watching this webcast and you are in an unplanned pregnancy, and you're in the Spartanburg area, or even if you're not, we encourage you to give Carolina Pregnancy a call at, and I'm going to just throw out the number there, Alexa, at 864-582-4673. That's 864-582-HOPE, because that's what Carolina Pregnancy Center hopes to offer you is hope in the situation that you're in. And then also they do have their web presence at carolinapregnancy.org, carolinapregnancy.org, and that's where you can also find additional information. And Alexa, you're still doing online appointments?
We are, and also if there's any men or women who are struggling with a past abortion, we would love an opportunity to minister to them also. We have a Bible study for men and women. So I just offer that. And everything we do is free and confidential. Nobody's going to know you were here unless you tell them.
Great. Thank you. So if you'd like to be able to replay today's recording, today's live interview, it will be available on Facebook immediately. It will also be available on our Instagram, Twitter, YouTube channels, as well as posted on our website this afternoon. And it will also be emailed out to those that are on our e-tree for anyone who is not on social media, does not have ready access to social media, and was working today and missed today's live interview. So without further ado, I thank you again for joining us, and we'll see you next week, same time, same station, and have a wonderful week, ladies. Have a wonderful week, everyone.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Alexa. Thank you so much.
Great time. Thanks.